Hello, and welcome to a special dual unboxing episode of the Imperial Collector. I'm Oliver Dean McCurry, the Imperial Collector. Today, we're unboxing two Hot Toy Star Wars figures, and if you take a look at my Funko friends here, you might be able to figure out who. Moff Gideon and a Dark Trooper. Both of these characters, the Dark Trooper is not just a character, there was multiple Dark Troopers. In several episodes of The Mandalorian, but they're very menacing figures, both Moff Gideon and the Dark Troopers. There was even an episode where the Dark Trooper stole Grogu, kidnapped him off a planet, and blasted off into the sky, and the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, could do nothing about it. Spoilers. But Moff Gideon, wow. Talk about a creepy character, a very menacing character, and he really brought forth those Imperial vibes. And he's not even a Force wielder. He's not a Sith. He's just a officer of the Empire, the remnant of the Empire. Even the Empire is supposed to be gone, but there's a few people that didn't quite realize that end up getting together and eventually creating the First Order that we'll see in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. But just listen to his voice a little bit and see how menacing and commanding he is.
Piece of advice. Assume that I know everything.
I would prefer to avoid any further violence and encourage a moment of consideration. In a few moments,
It will be mine.
you have something I want.
Let's see how you do against a platoon seeking me, and we will be ready.
Members of my escort,
Drop the blaster.
the decommissioned Mandalorian hunter, Din Djarin.
It doesn't work that way.
Just some voice clips from The Mandalorian. Now, talk about just a commanding presence, a menacing voice there. Moff Gideon is played. Now, I had this name, and I do not remember it off the top of my head. Giancarlo Esposito. Giancarlo Esposito is the actor who plays Moff Gideon. And I knew I'd heard this voice before. He's actually in some video games too that I think I've either played or my son has played, and I've heard his voice. And then when I first saw The Mandalorian and he started talking, I'm like, whoa, I've heard that voice somewhere. And you've seen him crop up in some other shows too. He doesn't usually play main characters, but he'll show up sometimes as like a side actor or a background part. But today we are unboxing Moff Gideon, who was, in the beginning, the main antagonist from The Mandalorian. Shows up in Season 1 when they're trying to get the child. And what was happening is, turns out, spoilers, Moff Gideon was wanting to clone Jedi. Specifically clone Grogu because he was from the same race as one of the strongest Jedi, which was Master Yoda. So we see Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon, the figure, there and there. Very great likeness here. There's another part of the figure, and you'll notice, see right there, he does have the dark saber. This is where we first see the first live-action appearance of the dark saber. The first time we saw it, at all, was in Star Wars Rebels, where we see where it actually is the Mandalorian dark saber. Again, the pictures that are in the verse of the box, when you first open it up, they're just really great. And look at the lightsaber. The dark saber. It just looks really awesome there. Okay. Wow. I believe, this might be the first time we get the darksaber with the swooshing action in the figure. I don't remember. Let me know if that's the case. I have to go back in past episodes. Maybe Bo-Katan had it. I don't think the Mandalorian had it. Both those figures did come with the dark saber. I do remember that, but I don't remember if they had the swooshing motion, which we do have today with Moff Gideon. Got my little bag of plastic doodads there. We're going to take the figure out, set him to the side. I hope. Oh, his cape was stuck. Okay, going to set him to the side and look at his accessories. So we'll start out with the base. We're not all about that base, but we do like it a little bit right here. Some of them are very cool. Megan Trainor joke there for you. I've made one of those before, I believe. Even talked about her husband. Let's see. But not in a bad way. He's a cool dude. Just going to get this stand ready. And it's a stand like we've seen several times before. There it says Star Wars Moff Gideon. It looks like a deck plating from an Imperial Star Destroyer or some type of Imperial base or just a floor somewhere. It has the standard, what they call a crotch grabber. I don't like to call it that much, but that's what it's called. So there it is. There's his base. We'll set it over here to the side. Move our Funko friends over here to the side and go through the rest of his accessories. Now, he doesn't have a ton of accessories because this character doesn't have a ton of items ever. You see him. He has a blaster, and he does have a holster for the blaster. We'll put that in a little bit. He has, like I was talking about, excuse me for yawning, the dark saber. We have seen that before in a set. And I think I'm going to actually pose him with his dark saber. We have the dark saber hilt. If we want to just put that, on here instead of the dark saber, we just put that on there, and that's the hilt, and it hangs off his side. So that little piece creates the hilt, and then we do have the swooshing motion for the dark saber. Now, I like the swooshing motions on the lightsabers, but I'll tell you this, the way this looks, it looks like the dark saber. I mean, it really does. The effect on this one is just awesome. He does have some different hands. They're very detailed with the gloves and his fingers coming out of them. Some gripping hands, some fist hands. Kind of standard for someone who has a lightsaber, or in this case, a dark saber. And also hands that can grip a blaster. Excuse me again. So, that is all the accessories. That part was a little quicker in this episode. Partially why I went ahead and said we'll do a double episode. And also because these characters go together. The Dark Troopers were Moff Gideon's army. He created them, and they were ultra strong, and they were only defeated by Luke Skywalker. Wow. Simplest instructions yet. Tells you how to do the dark saber, how to take the part of the hilt out. So, very quick and easy instructions there. Now, what I'm going to do, something new from the segments, is pause the video, get all this plastic off the figure, and get him ready to show you the details. Be right back. Well, maybe. We're back. Now, you might be thinking what I did originally. It's going to be just a simple figure, not a lot of accessories. Excuse me. He's not a Sith Lord or anything. He's just kind of an Imperial officer. But I was wrong. This is a very awesome figure with a very different uniform than what we normally see from Imperial officers. He has on like a black version of some type of stormtrooper armor. He does have his rank up here as a Moff. He has it on both sides. Usually you just have like a little bar right here with the rank, but he has it on both sides. His gauntlets are very detailed. His outfit has like a red striping on the pants and on the shirt. The armor almost reminds me of Darth Vader, because Darth Vader's armor looked kind of like a black armor version of the white armor that the stormtroopers have. You'll see the back of him here. That armor still continues. It's very shiny. He's got some awesome boots here. They look like real leather, very detailed, very shiny. at the bottom, like they have leather soles, like real boots. He's got his holster here for his blaster that I was talking about. And I'm going to go ahead, put his blaster in there. Have the figure right here ready for his blaster. Now it looks like this one just has like a little hole where the little strap here goes to keep his gun in place, which I don't really like that. It's a small little hole trying to get that back in there. Some of the newer figures have the little magnets in there, so I do definitely like that better. It's a little easier to maneuver. I can't get that right now, so I'll do that in the part where I pose the figure off camera. He does have this really neat cape, and it actually has a wire in it, so you could bring it down over him and kind of stylize it that way. You could have it to where it's kind of flowing up, over to the side like it's blowing in the wind or something. There's a lot of things you could do with that cape. And the resemblance to the actor is very, very good. That's a very detailed figure. Again, the hair is very lifelike. A lot of things on these figures. They really, really look like the character and the actor. But I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to pose this figure on the stand the way that I want to pose it. And we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We have Hot Toys Moff Gideon. And this is how I am going to display my figure. Wielding the dark saber there. He's got both hands because it's kind of when you turn it on, it's a very heavy weapon. And it's very difficult to wield. As even Bo-Katan couldn't hardly do it. And Din Djarin really had problems with it too. It's like everybody who tried to touch this thing in The Mandalorian kept having trouble with it. So there he is. Moff Gideon from Hot Toys. Give us just a moment. We'll be right back, and we'll be ready to unbox the second figure in this episode of a Dark Trooper. He does not come with Grogu, but we already have several Grogus. So, be right back.
Activate the Dark Troopers.
Activate the Dark Troopers. There you heard it directly from Moff Gideon himself. Ooh, that was a very scary moment in The Mandalorian. Well, here we have it, part 2 of this dual unboxing episode of the Imperial Collector. We're unboxing a Dark Trooper. Now this is a heavy figure. I believe there's some metal in here to make it even more realistic. There's the Dark Trooper figure, another part of him here. Here's a pose he is with a big gun. Wow, that is a menacing looking figure. And of course the Dark Troopers was the trooper squadron that was made by who we just unboxed, Moff Gideon. Let's see. Now this is probably my least favorite of these, and I do love the cover art. Kind of boring, but then again also kind of menacing too. You do see a full row of the squadron of Dark Troopers. Death Troopers is something else. Wow. This is a giant figure, as you'll see him there in the box. I hope he'll fit up on the shelf that I've got planned for him to sit on. He might not need a base. Now I'm thinking, and just by looking at this, he's not going to have a lot of accessories. He doesn't need a lot of accessories. He's powerhouse menacing all of his own, and he doesn't have a lot of them. He has a few different hands. They're the robotic hands because these are not people. These are not like clone troopers or stormtroopers. These are droids. They are definitely quote-unquote battle droids. Not the same battle droids from other parts of Star Wars, like Star Wars Episode 1, where we first see the battle droids. I'm going to go over the base. Now, this one is also another standard base that we have seen, but it's not the same one that Moff Gideon has. This one is probably my favorite of the standard bases. This is the one where it's kind of got a 3D effect to it. It's like these bars, and then up under there you can see that it's actually hollow, so it's like deck plating that they're walking over, and you can imagine it would make like a metal clank, and you could hear it because it'll resonate through the deck plate. And it does say Star Wars and Dark Trooper, as all the bases so far have said that. Has said Star Wars and in the name of the figure. Wondering what he has here. Well, he does have this type of base as well. I thought maybe he might have a flight pole, but he does not. And if you are saying, why would he have a flight pole? Well, they could fly. As I said, there was an episode where he did kidnap Grogu and flew off into the air. He does have a big, oh, there's the base, the standard base. He has a big gun there. You would think they wouldn't need guns, like they would have lasers or something in their hands or whatever, but they did have weapons. They were very similar to regular troopers, but they were droids. Get the booklet out here, take a look at it, and then we'll take a look at the figure. Not a lot of plastic on this figure. That's good. There are some batteries here too. We'll see what that goes to. Let's see. Oh. So this figure has batteries in multiple places, so that's pretty cool. We'll pause the show in a little bit and go over that. Okay. I didn't notice this at first, but evidently there's a little assembly required to the weapon. It has like an ammo cartridge on there that fits, well, there it goes. Fits right on there to the side there. So there's the weapon. It shoots lasers. It doesn't shoot ammo, so I'm not sure why they have the little ammo piece there. Wow. The Dark Trooper. He is partially plastic, partially some metal. Little plastic on his head there. His eyes are menacingly red. Wow. I mean, this is just a very detailed, very heavy figure. There he is, the Dark Trooper. Very shiny with metal and plastic. See how shiny he is with the white light? See his red eyes? There's his feet. Robotic feet. Robotic hands on a double joint there. Wow. Now, it does have a back plate that comes off so you can put batteries in there. And then there's actually a piece on his head where you also put batteries, because there's lights in two places on this figure. You see back there in the back, it was just a little cover that pops if you put it the right way. Well, still didn't. Just a little cover pops on back there and just pops right back off. And then the top of his head comes off. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go ahead and get the figure, get the batteries in the figure. I'm going to pause him on the stand since there's not really a lot to this figure as far as like accessories and things like that, or any kind of thing we need to go over in that regards. Awesome figure though. I'll go ahead and get him on the stand. I'll get the batteries in so we can see those lights light up. We'll be right back. Here is a Dark Trooper. Now, I did put those batteries in so we can see him illuminate in just a moment. But one thing that I noticed is his weapon is magnetized and it can hook right onto his side. So when he's ready to fight, he pulls it off and starts shooting. So I wanted to have that down. I'm going to have my figure standing like he's just coming out of his alcove, basically. So let me switch on those lights. There's some on the front there, and his eyes. Put his head plate back on. There. I'll put this back piece back on. Wow, that is an awesome figure, and that is very menacing. Like I said, the shiny plastic and metal combined, just the detail of the figure. There's some silver in there. His joints are like robotic with the circles, you know, spherical levers, and he's got places where nozzles hooked, putting in like fuels and things of that nature. He has these like wings right here that he does fly, and like I said, they're kind of like foils, you know, that can change his flight and everything too. So that is just an awesome figure, along with, of course, Moff Gideon, who the Dark Troopers are part of his troop. This has been another episode of the Imperial Collector. We thank you for joining us today. Like and subscribe if you do enjoy this channel. Share it with a friend, a fellow Star Wars fan. Join us next time for the next episode. We did take a little break here in the middle of our Clone Wars series to do another Mandalorian unboxing. After this, we will do another another Clone Wars unboxing. That dual episode with Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul. So please join us next time. Goodbye.